Hi, it's Joey Reynolds. I hate that hiya stuff. I was talking to Jay Sorensen, my sidekick, and he was telling me how that's from Andy's gang. Years ago when we were kids, there was a radio show, and it was called, what was that show called? It was called Let's Pretend. And there was Andy Devine was Andy on the show, and well, it was Andy in real life. And he used to say, "Hiya, kids, hiya." No, that was a frog. They had a frog. The frog went, "Hiya, hiya, hiya, kids." I got that from Rod Roddy, who used to be on The Price is Right. Come on down. Hiya, 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 hiya. Where do these things come from? All these things, it's goofy, right? Some of the stuff like wrap your head around it. And, where did that start? Wrap your head around. Who's going to wrap their head around anything except your mother's going to wrap her finger around her hand around your head. I even blew that. So, what happens is we have I would say, a cataclysm. Now, that's as opposed to catechism. Cataclysm is where something runs into another object that's immovable. And I think that's the case with this millennial versus the seniors world. Now, we are shifting consciousness we're going from football to pickleball, from tennis to pickleball. And we're getting into different kinds of sports that sound strange and didn't really mean much when I was a kid. But we used to make scooters out of 2x4s and bottle caps. And that was our way of getting around with roller skates on the bottom of the 2x4 board. That's how we made scooters. We didn't go and buy them. We didn't have the luxury of a credit card. We didn't have the credit card back then. Everything changed. Even the feds. When I was a kid, the feds meant that the government was coming in and was going to bust the gangsters. Now it means that the feds means when they're coming, that they're going to come and close your business or go through your books or arrest you for financial crimes. Those are the ones that are big now, the financial ones. And yeah, what do we change everything? We have the World Cup. All right, now there's soccer. There's a big push on it. This is the World Cup when you're my age. It's when you get up to pee in the middle of the night. This is the World Cup. Women have a hard time with this one. But I am a survivor. What if I lived too long, or have I not lived right, or do I have so much more to go that everybody's envying me? It's all of the above, people don't like you to look good when you're my age. They don't want you to act good when you're my age, and you're not supposed to know as much as the young people. We always knew more when we were kids. We always knew more than the adults because the kids talk to each other. Adults try to hide stuff. That's probably why. It's communications, what we're doing on the radio and television, and ruined it. They ruined it. They answer phones and argue about politics. Whoever thought that was a good idea? There was one guy that saved it, was Rush Limbaugh at the time with an AM radio station in New York, and everybody got on board of that thing because they thought, oh, well, this guy is very, very entertaining and interesting. And then they made a religion out of it. And the same with Fox. Look what they've done. They have made a religion out of politics. They've made it a sport. People watch politics to see who's going to win the election every day. Every day people watch the polls. The polls you should watch are the ones where the Ukrainians are. There's nothing legitimate about surveys. They can't even get a census in this country because no one's in one place long enough. And no one's honest, it seems, to give you their whole family history. Except the Mormons, when you go to that heritage thing, legacy, I think they call that. You go online and you sign up, and they have everything about your background. I got as far back as my horse thief relatives in Sicily, and that was the end of that. I don't want to hear any more about my heritage. What I want to hear about is the pilgrims. That's the only heritage, because if the pilgrims were smart, they would have left the Indians alone and shared the casinos. But no, they had to stick their big noses in there and take over the property. See, the real estate's been ruining everybody. People own the real estate, and then they have this reverse mortgage. I have a reverse mortgage on my grave. That's a reverse mortgage means that you've taken the money you were going to leave to the kids and spent it on yourself. Hey, and you don't need Tom Selleck to tell you that, do you? and the other Morgan and Morgan and Morgan and Morgan. People are living off of accidents. They're living off of something, a mistake that someone made, and I mean, I had an accident. I've had a few of them, but I didn't call Morgan and Morgan and Morgan. I didn't call these guys and have them collect money for me, and I did have one, I think. Anyway, one Morgan is enough. There's no Morgan and Morgan. This is Morgan. Morgan is German, doesn't it? Doesn't that mean, what does it mean? It's hello? And auf Wiedersehen means goodbye? I don't know. I know very little German. That's because we won the war. What happened? How come we have speaking Spanish in this country? How did that ever happen? Why are we not speaking Italian as a second language? We were here first. I mean, what the hell is that all about? That we're speaking two languages and one of them is Spanish. Why are we doing that? Why not German? Why are we not speaking? Well, that one I already told you. We don't want them. But why are we not speaking another language? Why not French? Why is there two languages in this country? It should be one language anyway, English. And that one language, if people come here and they speak another language, they should learn our language so they can talk and listen and participate. That's the first thing at the wall. You know, if they cross the border, if they don't speak English, they're going to learn real fast, because that's how you make money. That's how you live. That's how you have quality of life. So what we did, we made a big mistake allowing the Cubans to come here in Miami and take over. All the Cubans think that Democrats are communists. I mean, who would know more about communism than that country? But you know, these are the guys who really have made Miami another language place. And it's true. See, no one wants to talk about that. They don't want to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about anything that's against anybody, because then you're picking on someone. But we're not against anyone. We're just trying to figure it out. You know, I mean, what are we doing with our gas prices right now? They went up right after the elections. Modestly, but they went up. And then the other thing is this Thanksgiving Day parade. We got that at Macy's. What I want to do is stick a rope up the Putin balloon, stick a rope up his ass and float him by Macy's. Macy's. That would be a good display of our anger. You know, we have a lot of anger. Hey, do I have anger? I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm going to just kill myself, like Peter Finch did in the movie Network. I think we are probably in a good place. We have food, not as much as we used to have, because the price is different. You know, we have an inflationary situation now where everybody wants to go to a thrift shop, which is where I got this anyway. You know, I've been going there for years. But the thrift shops are doing land office business, because they are the guys who put out all the clothing that you didn't want anymore and sell it secondhand. So that's what I'm wearing. I'm a secondhand host. I don't have to look like Stranahan or any one of those guys that dress with those fancy, real expensive Armani suits. Why does the weather girl have, well, they look, most of them look like hookers. And the weather guys look like they're just stepping out of the GQ catalog. It's a culture, see? We have a culture, and we create it. There's somebody said, oh, you know, this would be good, let's do this. And then we have all these sheep. People are sheep. You follow anything, anybody. I remember a couple of years ago, just before the pandemic, at NYU in Washington Square in New York, there was a big long line every single day, and I would go to eat around the corner there at the Quantum Leap, and I'd say, okay, what's this line for? So I got curious enough to go over and ask, and they were selling cookie dough by the pound, and making $10 for the little cookie dough. People were in line all the way around the corner. See, in New York, when you see a line, you think you got to get in it. When I see a line now in New York, I got to get out of it. That's changed. So that's about it today. We have a Thanksgiving Day tomorrow, and everybody's going to be real happy with cutting up the turkey. I saw the guy who carved the turkey in 3.5 minutes. That's the way my relatives eat. So here we are, and a happy Thanksgiving to all of you pilgrims and all of you Indians. What do they do at the casinos? How do they celebrate? It's a Reynolds wrap.